Welcome! This afternoon we're taking a look at the Winco Stal 10-inch chef knife. I was very impressed with this knife. It only cost $8 and for a budget knife it performs far better than I thought it would. In this video we're going to be looking at 4 parts. First we're going to start with an overview. We're going to take measurements and then I'm going to demonstrate how this product works. Afterwards we're going to talk about functionality. Then we'll talk about fit and finish, and fourth we'll talk about value. We have our measuring tape here, and we'll take some measurements. We can see that the overall length of this knife measures in at just under 15 inches at 14 3/4, while the length of the cutting surface measures in at just about 10 inches, like we expect. We see that the handle measures in at just over 5 inches. We can see the width of the blade. Bring it in a little closer. This measures in at 2 3/8 of an inch at the widest point. This knife is very light. We have our scale here to get an exact measurement. 211 grams. So let's see how it works. We're going to chop up some potatoes. Now what I like about this is that it rocks very smoothly. See, we can get these nice even cuts. Look at that. The wider blade makes it a little easier to control. You can see that we have all of these fries very uniform, nice and thin. Alright, I'm going to clean off the board and I will be back in a minute. One thing I really like about this knife is that it just rocks so smoothly, as you saw in the demo. It's very natural, you don't feel any resistance. Because of the relaxed angle at the top of the knife, it just rocks so smoothly. No issues at all. Winco makes an 8-inch version of the same knife, the Winco 8-inch Stal. And that one, the geometry is a bit more jagged. And when you rock that knife, it feels a lot different, a lot less smooth. This knife doesn't have that issue. It works much better. The other thing I want to mention is the handle. The handle of this Winco knife is very comfortable. At first I thought it was a little bit awkward, but once I got used to it, I really like it. It's a very comfortable handle. It's easy to clean as well. Just scrub it with a little scouring pad and it just cleans up so easily. Now the wide blade of this knife makes the knife a little bit easier to control. You have a wider surface to brace up against your fingers. In your claw grip, it makes it a little bit easier to work with. But its overall weight is still pretty low, only 211 grams. When you pick it up, it feels like a pretty light knife. Unfortunately, it isn't very well balanced. The balancing point of this knife sits right over here, right below the etching, right behind the etching. Ideally, it would be a little closer to the handle, but because of its light weight, it doesn't make that big of a difference. The one big drawback of this knife is that this is not a full tang knife. This is a half tang. You don't see the metal protruding like you would with a full tang knife. A knife that isn't full tang is typically a little less durable. So I'll be very careful using this on anything with a hard shell. So I would be wary of using this to cut through squash or chop up anything that would give you a lot of resistance because the handle could potentially crack. You also want to make sure you don't drop it. Finally, the last aspect I want to mention with respect to functionality is the tip of the knife. You notice it gets a little bit thinner toward the top, but it's still not quite enough for detail work. So if you're looking to cut an onion, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because the blade is a little thick here toward the top. I'd switch to a thinner blade knife or a utility knife or a paring knife for that task and then finish it up with this one. One of the nice things about this knife is that it doesn't require a lot of touch-up. Some of the other Winco knives I had to go in and polish and clean up some of the etching, some of the edges. This one not so much. It does have an abrasive etching over here, but because of the extra wide blade, the etching doesn't really end up scraping up against your fingers. So it's not that critical to take this off. The top of the knife is a little bit sharp, and you could smooth this out if you want to, but it's not really necessary because again, the wide blade makes it so that it's a lot less likely to rub up against your fingers. I like that the handle, it's perfect right out of the box. There's no polishing, there's nothing that really needs to happen to clean up the handle, it's already smooth. Some of the other Winco knives I own, you had to do a little bit of work on the handle. The one drawback I see with this out of the box is the edge. It is not well sharpened. As you can see from the edge, it might be a little bit difficult to see on camera, but the profile is a little inconsistent. It's a little bit wider on the top than this here in the back. One side, this side here, seems like it's a little bit wider than the other side. I recommend you go in and you resharpen it, do it at about 15 degrees, and smooth it out, hone it, really get a good edge on it before you start using it, because you don't want this knife to slip while you're working. This is a very good quality steel. I was impressed. For $8, you're getting really good quality material. This is the X50CR MOV15 carbon steel, the German steel. It's a little bit harder than your typical stainless steel and it holds an edge a little bit better. But I will mention, there is the Winco 10-inch knife that's only $4 more expensive, and that one has some more advanced features. For instance, that full tank construction. So if you can afford it, I would recommend spending the extra $4 and going with the 10-inch Winco instead, because I think having that extra durability is well worth it. On the other hand, if you're looking for a low budget knife, this one is a pretty good choice. If you're looking for something that's low cost, if you're looking for something that you'll use on occasion, you're not planning to tackle any tough jobs with it, you're not planning to slice through any squash, watermelons, then this is a great choice. If you're looking for a knife that's a bit more durable, I'd suggest looking at the Winco 10-inch. But for the price, this is a great deal. I hope you found this review helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know and I will do my best to answer them.